So in this video, I have the opportunity to speak with Emily Heller, the host of the Run Like Heller channel here on YouTube, and she is going to help us try and figure out how we can find the best running shoe for us. How's it going, guys? My name is Justin Thompson. I'm your average running PT, and I help the average runner achieve their own personal elite status. If that's something you guys are into, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button and click the bell so you know when the next video comes out. So let's get right into the interview. All right, so on today's video, we're going to do a little bit different. We're going to do a quick interview of Emily Heller from the show, or from the YouTube channel Run Like Heller. So I'm going to go ahead and let her introduce herself. So Emily, good to have you on, and go ahead and tell us a little bit about you and what your YouTube channel is about.
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for having me. So to talk about my channel a little bit, I started it in September of 2019, so we're coming up on a year, which is really cool. And I'm just a regular age group runner from Long Island, New York. I'm not any kind of elite, crazy fast runner. I just love the sport of running, the community that it creates, and more specifically, I love running shoes. Which is kind of what made me want to start a channel in the first place. Um, I was watching Ginger Runner and Jameson Michael and Kofuzi and all those guys for a long time, and I just decided, like, why don't I give it a shot? So here we are, and I have maybe almost 4.4 thousand subscribers right now, which is amazing. So I'm so glad that I started the channel and that I get to do this all the time now. It's crazy. It's so much fun.
Yeah, so I think I jumped on your bandwagon at the beginning of this year, maybe, and I think you were right around 1,000.
Yeah.
So I think I noticed and saw you somewhere around March or February or March.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was when I started my channel as well.
Yeah.
Around March 2nd was when I started my channel, and I think I reached out to you on Instagram
Uh-huh.
just shortly after that. And of course, you were super helpful in, kind of giving me some thoughts and ideas on how to grow and things like that on YouTube. But I've been really enjoying kind of watching your running shoe reviews. I've never been like a gear guy.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't, for me, it was just kind of like throw on a pair of running shoes. Didn't really
Right.
matter what it was.
Yeah.
Even though I'm a PT, you might think that that's a big thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's just kind of throw some shoes on, head out the door.
Hey,
And
if it works, it works.
yeah, but kind of watching your channel, Kofuzi, and Jameson Michael, Seth Demore, all those
Oh
guys.
yeah.
So it's been really interesting to kind of hear the different opinions and things like that on running shoes. And so I've gained a lot of info from
Mm-hmm.
your channel and those others. But what I want to do right now is so people can kind of get an idea of what they should be doing when it comes down to actually buying new running shoes.
Mm-hmm.
So they can go on and they can watch a review, they can do things like that. But I want you to kind of take people through the process of going through and then kind of reviewing these shoes, because I want you to kind of think about it from the point of buying the shoe
Mm-hmm.
to, oh, I got this shoe in the mail. This shoe looks awesome, or that lime green is way uglier than I thought it was. And,
Yeah.
and then putting it on your feet for the first time, going for that first run, putting in a few miles, and then what are people actually looking for once they've run a few miles in them? So kind of take people through that process from the moment they're thinking about buying a shoe to, okay, was this the right decision for me, kind of at the end of it all.
Right. So I think to relate it back to my process and what kind of what I do is if I'm going to buy a shoe, I think about, okay, well, first of all, what am I using it for? Because there's so many different kinds of shoes out there. And some of them aren't great for everything. You can't, you know, train. I mean, I guess you could, but you really aren't supposed to train in like just a carbon fiber plated shoe all the time, like that sort of thing. So the first thing I think about is like, okay, what am I going to use it for? So then once it comes to me, once I get it in the mail, or if I go to like a running shoe like a specialty store, which is another great option to actually physically get to try the shoe on before you buy it.
Yeah.
Once I get the shoe, I do a couple of things with it. So let's say it's just a daily trainer. I will take it for maybe like 2 easy runs, and then I'll take it on some longer, maybe like not tempo runs, but maybe a little faster pace. And then I'll also do like maybe mile repeats or a faster workout to kind of determine what that shoe excels at.
Mm.
And I think that's important too for just like the regular consumer to do, because then you can kind of get a better idea of like where that shoe fits in your rotation. Because some shoes, even though they're listed as daily trainers or listed as tempo day shoes, they actually can do other things. So that is kind of like personal to the runner, that specific runner. So for me, that's kind of like how I categorize it. And then what I do is I try to go through for my reviews, like go through the upper, the midsole, and the outsole. So the most important thing for me is the midsole. And it's really just how the shoe feels underfoot is going to kind of make it or break it for me personally. um, and the durability of that midsole is also something that I think is pretty important, because that's what your foot is, you know, pounding on for miles upon miles upon miles. I mean, sure, the upper and the outsole need to be durable, but really if the foam is going to die down quickly, then for me that's kind of a big flaw. So that's kind of my process, and I think the process that a regular running shoe consumer should also kind of go through is do a bunch of different kinds of runs in it, see where it falls for you and how you can use it in your rotation, and always remember that because it works for someone in one way, it might not work for you in that way, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's one good thing about, you know, there's so many different people out there that are doing reviews on shoes that you can get a few different opinions on,
Absolutely.
you know, this person has this foot type or runs at these speeds and this kind of thing. Well, this person is a completely different non-elite versus elite, right? So there's a bunch of different, there's two different ends and there's a big spectrum in between. And so, you know, trying to kind of figure out what's right for you, it can also be kind of hard. So would you recommend that people would go to a running specialty store first, especially if maybe they're a brand new runner?
Yeah.
Brand new runner versus somebody that, you know, has been running for a year or so and has tried on a few different shoes and they kind of know what works for them?
Yeah, I think if you're a beginner runner, you should definitely go to a running shoe specialty store. That's kind of like where I got started in getting all the shoes that I have. Is when I first started running, I went to a local store and they assessed my foot and told me like what I should be wearing. And I think that's a good place to start. I don't think you need to base everything off of that opinion and like that assessment, but I think it's a good place to kind of like I said, start and go from there. I think a lot of times, like I was put in stability shoes when I first started, and I mean it's clear that my right foot pronates if you watch any of my videos. I'm well aware of it. But you know what, like just because that's the assessment that I got doesn't necessarily mean like that's what I enjoy running in, or that's the right shoe for me, because I run in neutral shoes, and I don't have any pain yet. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
But I've run in a lot of stability shoes and they're good, but they're not exact. Sometimes they just don't work for me. Like I got knee pain in the Kayano. So, you know, it really is kind of up to the runner and how they feel in a shoe. But I do think if you're a beginner, it is good to get that assessment, have them analyze your arch, have them analyze your stride. That is important, especially when starting out. And then you can kind of see how that shoe and that option works for you and go from there.
Yeah. I mean, as a PT, I do, kind of foot assessments and
Yeah.
running gait assessments and things of that sort, similar to what they do in the running shoe store. And I always tell people that this is a baseline for where it gives us a place to actually start, and then from there it's really kind of about what's actually comfortable. Because if you don't feel comfortable in a stability shoe, I don't want to put you in a stability shoe.
Yeah, exactly.
And then there's something to be said for wearing different types of shoes so that your feet and lower legs get stronger in different ways too. So that's kind of that. So now what I want to kind of transition a little bit and do is talk a little bit about the kind of three different categories of shoes. So let's say a daily trainer, let's say a speed day shoe, you're going to run quarter mile to mile repeats or something.
Sure.
And then a racing shoe. And I want you to give us your top three that you've reviewed over the last almost a year now.
Yeah.
Wow, it's been almost a year. So that you've reviewed in the last year, and if you weren't like reviewing a million different shoes at one time, then you would definitely go reach for this one in this category, or you would definitely go reach for that one. So let's start with a daily trainer, and let's say you're gonna go just hit 8 miles easy or something like that. And what's that shoe that's just like popping into your head that's like, that's the one I'm gonna grab for sure?
Yeah, so I actually just did a video maybe like yesterday I put it out of like my top 5 daily trainers, so this question is perfect.
I didn't get a chance to watch it yet.
No, it's okay.
I saw it go up.
This is good. I think my favorite right now is the Ride 13 from Saucony.
Okay.
And a lot of people were surprised by that. But for me, I really like that shoe because it's just a simple, reliable daily trainer. There's not tons of foam underfoot. It's not like, it doesn't have any like plates or anything like that. It's just a power on midsole, a nice, somewhat breathable upper, and good traction. And I guess I'm partial to it because I ran the Philadelphia Marathon in 2018 in the Ride ISO. But for me, the Ride 13 is just a really good shoe. There's not a ton of cushioning. It's responsive, but it's not too firm or you're going to be uncomfortable in those later miles. It's just a great all-around option. And I think also, not to keep ranting about the shoe, is what's cool about that shoe as opposed to the other few that I had in my top 5 is that it's versatile, where it has enough cushioning underfoot to go long, but it has enough firmness and response that if you want to pick up the pace in the shoe, like if you only have one shoe in your arsenal and that's what you want to use, that it can actually do tempo runs as well if you want to put it to that test. Yeah. So that would be my daily trainer choice, would be the Ride 13.
Okay, I like it. I've never actually gone Saucony, so that's something that I am interested in doing.
Yeah, Saucony is killing it in 2020.
Yeah, I've gotten recommendations for Kinvaras and other Saucony shoes, but I've never taken the plunge. So that's something that I'm interested in doing, hopefully pretty soon.
I recommend.
All right, cool. All right, next.
Okay,
speed shoe. So if you're gonna go do some quarter mile repeats or up to mile repeats or something like that, what are you throwing on your foot to give you that speed and pop?
All right, so I don't want to like be like the Saucony like plug. Like I don't want to like plug them the whole time. So I'll give you a Saucony option and then I'll try to think of another one. But my current favorite speed shoe would be the Endorphin Speed. That shoe's insane. Absolutely love it.
Over the Pro.
Sorry?
Over the Pro.
Yes, for a speed day. Maybe for racing, I'd feel otherwise, but I think for a longer distance race, I would pick the Speed only because, and for just a regular tempo day shoe for your workouts, because the nylon plate is so much more sort of forgiving than the carbon plate in the Pro. So you have that PB, that Power Run PB midsole that you get in the Pro. So you already have something that you have in like the elite running, the racing shoe. You already have the midsole. But then the nylon plate gives you that pop and that propulsion that the carbon plate does, but it also allows your foot to flex a little bit more. So I think it's a lot more forgiving, and is a better option for most of us who are not professional runners, because you get the best of the plate springing you forward, but you also have the ability to flex your foot in a natural way.
Yeah.
So I've been running in that shoe for pretty much all of my mile repeats, and it's been incredible. Once you get up in that pace, once you get your body to allow you to get up there,
Yeah.
It feels like you could just like put that shoe on cruise control and it just goes, and it's such a good feeling. It's one of the better shoes that I've run in 2020. I don't want to say the best yet because we still have time, but it's definitely up there. And then I'm trying to think of another option that's not Saucony. Geez, what can I pick? Well, this is an older shoe, but I love the Feel Still Rebel from New Balance. That's an older one, but that was one of my favorites for a while. Another great shoe that has a lot of pop in the forefoot. The midsole is very responsive, but protective enough that you can take it longer on longer tempo days. And it's light, so that's another great option if you're not on the Saucony train.
Okay, cool. I haven't tried, I haven't tried Saucony.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't tried New Balance.
Really?
I haven't tried a plated shoe, so I'm behind in all of these things that you're mentioning right now. So hopefully,
What shoes? What are you running?
Right now, my rotation includes my Skechers Go Run Ride 8, Skechers Razor 3. That's
I know that's a great shoe. Yeah, that's
my speed shoe for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then Ultra Touring 4.5.
Okay.
I'm an ultra guy, and we're gonna go minimalist in a minute. Okay, so get ready. All right. But before we go there, racing shoe. What's your racing shoe?
Okay, my racing shoe is between the Saucony Endorphin Pro and the Nike Next Percent, which are two pretty much, I think a lot of people would say the same thing. However, what I will say is that I like the Endorphin Pro better as opposed to the Next Percent. I just think it's a little more stable, feels a little bit more natural on foot than the weird shape of the Next Percent for me. And but I have tried a couple of other carbon plated shoes that aren't Nike, that aren't Saucony, that are really good. Recently I tried the Brooks Hyperion Elite, and that was a great shoe. I mean, the Elite 2, not the Elite 1. That was a great shoe because the platform is so wide. It feels a lot more stable than both the Endorphin Pro and the Next Percent. But I did have some heel issue with that, where the heel counter was kind of digging into my Achilles a little bit. So that was not so great. Might be a bit of a deal breaker for me. But yeah, I guess the Pro and the Next Percent, not to be basic, but that's kind of like those are the two best ones I think right now in the market for sure.
Are those two just going to be good for like half marathon distance, or do you think that those would work for 5K, 10K? Because I'm more of a shorter, faster kind of a runner. I've done a couple of half marathons. I've never done a full. So do you think that those also work for those shorter distances?
Yeah, for me personally, I have taken the Next Percent like 5K distance, but I would maybe go for something like a little firmer for that now. Maybe like the Meta Racer from ASICS would be a good option. It's lower to the ground, more like a traditional racing flat, and you still have a carbon plate in the forefoot, so it's a good like nice propulsive ride. Or another one that would be good for 5K, I think, would be like the Skechers Speed Elite, because that's also a firmer shoe, and it's I don't know if it's much lower to the, I think it's a little bit lower to the ground than like the Next Percent, which is crazy high, and the Endorphin Pro. So those are two options that are, I think for a 5K for me would be like a little bit of a firmer shoe at this point. Just because you're like going so fast, I don't need like all that cushioning underfoot, and it's a short distance.
Yeah.
So those are two options I would probably pick for like a shorter distance race.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we're going there. We're talking for a minute about minimalist running shoes.
I'm ready. I don't know too much about them, but we'll do our best.
Okay. So just in general, the idea is a natural, more of a natural running kind of experience, right?
Yep.
Basically, what minimalist running shoes do is they're pretty much just protecting your foot from getting abrasions from running on the ground.
Right.
That's basically all they're there for. Otherwise, they should be as flexible as possible and should allow your foot to do everything as naturally as possible. So no support, no cushioning necessarily. In general, they're zero drop kind of an experience.
Yeah.
Would you ever go try and do minimalist running shoe running, and for what? I mean, even if it's just for like strides or things like that, would you ever consider doing anything like that? Yes, no, why, maybe?
Yeah, I would try. I've gotten some asks about ultras, and I would try them. I am a little afraid of how they would make my calves feel, but I know that kind of goes away with time. I would be open to it, but I don't think at this point I would use them for any type of long distance running. Maybe I would just give it a shot for strides, or maybe like a 5K here and there. I'm open to it. It's not my first choice, obviously, but yeah, I mean, I would never say never.
Yeah. So for me, my ultras, I don't go over 6 miles in them, and it's always really slow.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not like something that I'm gonna go pound the pavement and put in speed work. I'm not gonna take them for 10, 12-mile long run or anything like that.
Right.
Because I don't want to just tear my legs up, tear up my calves, my Achilles, and that kind of thing.
That's my fear.
Yeah, and that's real. So being able to gradually transition into shoes like that is something that takes time. And I think it's good to do kind of a more natural running experience from time to time, just to allow the feet to strengthen and the lower legs to strengthen and things like that. But I don't necessarily believe in that is the only way, because you go into some of these like minimalist running shoe groups on Facebook or something, and it's like basically they say that's the only way.
Yeah. So, I've seen a little bit of that here and there on like some other Facebook running shoe groups, and I've had people in my comments be like, well, why won't you try ultras, and like very, very upset about the fact that I have not tried them. So it's a very diehard group, I have to say.
Yeah, it is. So I'm never pushing anybody to go complete minimal all the way. But I do encourage, for me, I wear ultras or topos, which are also zero drop, for my just walking around doing whatever kind of and then every now and then for the easy runs and stuff like that. So that's my view.
I might be getting some topos, I think, shortly. I was asked if I wanted to review those, and I'm open to it. I knew that they were a low drop. I didn't know that there was zero. I don't really know too much about them, but I didn't know it was zero, but I knew it was a low drop shoe.
I don't know if all the topos are zero.
Okay.
I know all the ultras are zero. The topos that I have are zero. So I know more about ultra than I do topo. I just bought those topos at one point. So
yeah, it's an interesting concept. I'm open to it. I'm a little hesitant, but I'm open.
Okay, yeah, it's something you got to ease into for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna go out there and do like a half marathon. And I think I think I'd have to retire from running altogether at that
Yeah,
point.
your calves would fall off at that
Yeah.
point. All right, so all right, last question, and I gave you the outline, and I said, all right, I'm gonna put you on the spot with this one.
Okay, I'm ready.
So if you could create a kind of a Frankenstein shoe,
Hmm.
where you could take the upper, the midsole, and the outsole of multiple different shoes, doesn't matter the brand, doesn't matter the shoe, and you could throw them together, and we could tell all the shoe companies to create this perfect kind of running shoe.
Yeah.
What would you throw together, and how much would they cost?
Wow, this is a question.
Yeah.
Okay. Might take me a minute to answer this, but we're gonna go through it. Okay.
Okay.
This is actually an exciting question. All right, so I think the first midsole that popped into my mind off the bat was the Endorphin Speeds midsole with the Power on PV and the nylon plate. So we have the midsole covered immediately.
Mhm.
Then for an outsole, that's a tough one. I'm trying to think of a good outsole that I've tried recently.
Yeah, I know a lot of times you don't really feel as much in terms of like differences between outsoles sometimes. So, but
Yeah. Well, what I would say is I like, I don't know, I like the rubber on the next percent a lot. I feel like it's very grippy and it sticks onto the pavement pretty well. I would say maybe the outsole of the next percent, but maybe like a little bit more rubber because it's only really in the forefoot there.
right.
Um, so maybe a little of that. And then we're already getting up there in price. I mean, these are pretty cool. And then let's see, a nice upper. What uppers do I really like recently? I mean, I love the out. I really like the upper of the Endorphin Pro, but it's not so durable. So I'm trying to think. Am I taking too long to answer this?
Not necessarily, no.
All right. Well, I'll make it quick. I think I like the upper. Let's do like the upper of the Clifton 7.
Okay.
So we got the upper of the Clifton 7. We got um, the midsole of the Endorphin Speed, and then we have the outsole. This is a very strange shoe.
It's a very
Uh,
interesting looking
of the
shoe.
next percent. I think that would be kind of cool. I think we can work with that.
You could work with that. And
Yeah,
that,
because it makes it more like it makes it a little bit more of like a daily trainer type of thing.
I was gonna say it sounds kind of like an all around, can do a little bit of everything kind of
Yeah,
shoe.
yeah. It's a shoe that would never exist in real life, and no one would like it. But if I could pick my favorite shoe,
Yeah.
I think that would be it. I think that would, yeah, and I think it would cost. Well, it's gonna have to cost like the Endorphin Speed is $160, I think, and then you got the Endorphin, then you got the Clifton, which is like 130 or 140, and then you have the next percent, which is $1 million.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna price it at 150.
150.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does that work?
That works. That's perfect. I love it.
Okay, fair enough.
I just wanted to drop that one in there and make you have to think about it a little bit. So
Yeah, no, I think, I'm going to go back later and I'm going to be like, oh, I should have said this.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. But I think right on the spot, that's what I would do. But I'm interested what you would pick.
Because I'm not a shoe reviewer. Like
That's true.
I haven't gotten to try out all the shoes that you have.
Yeah.
And like I said, for me, it's always been kind of put whatever I have on my feet,
Hmm.
even if it's like a 4-year-old shoe that is falling apart. That's just kind of always been how I am. Now I'm starting to change my mind on that a little bit. So
Yeah.
so I can't really put All I have right now is my 3-shoe rotation that kind of does everything I need it to do at the moment.
But
Maybe, maybe
would you pick a zero drop
no,
though? Okay,
I
fair
would
enough. Just curious.
I wouldn't. I would wear zero drop just in regular everyday life,
Hmm.
but I don't think I would do that for my perfect running shoe. It would probably be 4 or 5 millimeter.
Yeah,
It wouldn't be a large drop. It would be something kind of in that middle.
5 is a sweet spot. I think
Yeah,
5 is perfect for me.
yeah, I like that too. So that's probably what I would do. Um,
Fair enough.
so that's it. That's good. All right. Well, Emily, I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for
Um,
having me.
yeah, no problem, no problem. And go ahead and just kind of tell us one more time, where can people find you on YouTube and Instagram and all that kind of stuff?
Yep. So my YouTube is Run Like Heller. Pretty simple. My Instagram is Run Like Heller as well, and my Strava is Emily_Heller. A lot of people ask me what my first name is because they think it's Heller, but it's Emily. So my Strava is Emily_Heller, and then I have a Twitter which I don't use too much. It's mostly for work, but you can find me there too, and that's at Emily A. Heller.
Okay,
Those are
perfect.
all the places.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So thank you again, Emily, for coming on and helping us to be able to figure out, what's the process of going through the buying process and how are you figuring out what shoe is going to be best for you. And I really, really hope that you guys will go and subscribe to her channel because she's putting on a lot of running shoes and she's got a lot of good thoughts and opinions about each one of them. And she's run in a bunch of shoes, so she knows what she's looking for. And I know that her videos have really helped me in making some decisions in buying some shoes as well. So hope that you guys enjoyed this. Now head on out there, seek your elite. God bless, and I will see you next time.